Welcome to the UDP broadcast, a podcast where a group of friends get together and talk about gaming related topics and offer both informed and uninformed opinions. I'm your host, Luminary, and I'm accompanied today by my co hosts, Imy, the Eternal Barcode,
Hello, everybody.
and from the Emerald Dream, Reina, the Crit Chicken.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Episode 70. We've passed the funny number. We can no longer do that again. That was a once in a
I
Yeah,
lifetime
mean,
thing.
I
we're gonna get
mean,
munchies in a little while, so it's all good.
Oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
could always we could always reset, right?
Yes.
Well,
Rebrand.
we can do it in levels of 69. So, like episode 69 times 2, we can do it again, I guess.
Would it be 138?
I think so.
Yeah, 130. Yeah, episode 138.
Math. But before that, Amy has words for us.
I do 10% of all donations and revenue from bits and subs and all that stuff goes to the Trevor Project, which is an amazing organization, and Ping, our wonderful
The
mascot,
Trevor
will have more.
Project is the leading organization working to end LGBTQ youth suicide in the US and beyond. The non-profit operates several programs to help prevent and respond to the public health crisis of LGBTQ youth suicide, including 24/7 free crisis services, research, advocacy, education, and peer support.
Thank you, Ping. And just as a reminder, this is an opinion show. We have opinions, and they in no way reflect any of our employers' views or anything like that. Amy says it much better than I can. I'm kind of going off the cuff. In other words, we're poor. Don't sue us. And yeah. So on with the show.
Wait,
So
couldn't we make this 69 part 2?
we could.
Or, as Banana suggested, number 70 minus 1.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna take a step away real quick, but don't stop me from stopping you doing the stuff.
Okay. All right.
Be right back.
All right. So, aggressively accommodating everyone. It seems like everything that's come out of any type of interest across the news bot on the Discord server and just out in syndicates in general have to deal with some sort of sympathy or accommodating for someone else. So we're kind of following that theme. I do want to talk about Nintendo. There was three interesting ones because Nintendo was in the news this week. We'll go with the funny one first, and that is the one where they are pledging action over inappropriate use of its characters, so players not made to feel uncomfortable. Apparently, Rule 34 is no longer on the table for Nintendo.
Wow. I never thought I would hear that day.
I don't know how they're going to enforce it. But I think that is something to be aware of, that IP holders are going to, or at least this IP holder is going to vehemently look for things. And it's interesting because in this article on Dual Shockers, it has a picture of Bowsette. Amy, do you know who Bowsette is?
No clue at all.
Okay, so Bowsette is female Bowser, but let me tell you how we get to this point. Because that's
Okay.
in the last Super Mario for the 3DS, I think it was, because it wasn't for the Switch. They introduced a mushroom that has a crown, and what it does is it turns little Toadette into Peachette. So she looks like Princess Peach, but she's really a toad, right? Well,
Okay.
the internet got whiff of this. Was like, what if we put that on Bowser? And so now we had like mega sexy, like Lady Bowser, anime style, running around with horns and whatnot.
Of course.
Yeah. So that went around. Like, there's been all kinds. I think I saw one the other day where Bowsette was on top of Mario, and Peach walks in and like was like, nope, nope, nope. Middle fingers are way out, and throws a throws a vase at Bowsette and knocks off her crown, and there's just King Koopa sitting on top of Mario, and they're like, yeah. So there's Nintendo doing
my
their
God.
thing. They're also this is probably one of the sillier ones. Nintendo says it has a plan to prevent scalping. I mean,
What? How?
oh, it's easy. They just plan to make loads of Switch 2s.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, they were just going to oversaturate the market.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Nintendo is known for manufacturing scarcity. And I say that whenever they did their amiibos, they intentionally like had instructions on how retailers shouldn't put out their amiibos or particular amiibos, or they wouldn't ship them to to the store. So they'd manufacture scarcity to give the amiibos value. So I don't understand. This is kind of like an about face on that philosophy because they're trying to get the Switch 2 in the hands of everyone, and I don't blame them. The Switch was a brilliant console. I'm looking forward to the Switch 2, seeing what it can do. Um, and it's unfortunate that this is like post COVID, where during COVID, all the chip manufacturers had issues with keeping up with demand because nobody can come to work.
Huh.
Yeah, it's it,
That's well, I mean, I guess if you're saturating the market a whole lot, you're going to just make it cheap, right?
I
Like if you
guess.
if you well, like I can see the appeal to doing that because if you oversaturate the market, you have so many devices that it becomes A, difficult to buy them all up, and B, um, it just there's just so many, you can get them everywhere. And
Mm,
yeah, it would go contrary to the manufactured scarcity they did previously with the previous generations.
yep. I think it'll be interesting to see how this goes because where there's money, there's people that will buy it up, and Nintendo doesn't care because no, they don't make money on the hardware. No game console company ever makes money on their consoles. They make money on the licensing.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out. The third one, it seems that they are going after more Switch privacy, piracy, not privacy. So there's two more new cases with that. So there you go. So it's kind of like a roundabout whole Nintendo type thing going on right now between yeah, no, we can no longer have Rule 34 going on, and then there's just like, oh, and by the way, you can no longer like piracy will be severely punished. And we've seen that so far with the USA emulator, and who was it? Was it? It was what was his name? I'm looking for it right now.
I don't remember. We've talked about piracy so many times involving Nintendo. I just now like
Yeah,
forget it all.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
even with anime series too, they've been doing cease and desist pretty much at conventions. Even on animes that have been like not having any merchandise for like the past 10 years or whatever, but they go around the conventions handing out these papers saying, you know, you can't do it. You can't be selling merchandise with our IP. You know, it was what is it? Viz Media is the most recent people doing it because apparently even if you have something that is hasn't had anything made in the past 10 years, you still don't want to lose your stuff to private domain, and that's why they have to do the whole cease and desist stuff.
Oh yeah. I know that in Japan they've got it. I mean, it's in a death grip for sure. It's everywhere else in the world they have to worry about, and yeah, once they start squashing that and they set precedent, at least in the states, with regards to emulation and using their IP and things like that, it's going to be a nightmare. And they have enough money to do it, but we'll
Well,
see what happens.
it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna go about enforcing their intellectual property rights on absolutely everything.
Hmm.
My guess is they'll do what Viz did, which is they'll just go to conventions. And if you're selling bootlegs or stuff like that, they'll just hit you there.
Yeah, copyright strike, copyright strike, copyright
It
strike.
was actually really funny because people at this convention, somebody was like, I got hit with a copyright strike. No, you didn't. You got hit with a intellectual property rights infringement notice, otherwise known as a cease and desist. That's what you got hit with. You didn't get hit with a
Because you're
copyright strike.
because you're pretty much taking from another, you're taking from their, IP, and you're taking from their money and stuff like that. Didn't that same thing happen with like Luke Combs or whatever? They were making the tumblers, and then they were like hitting people with like the infringement stuff because, hey, we're already making tumblers. Why are you doing this? Da 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 da. Cease and desist.
I had some friends that actually made real good money making tumblers. Like they had like whole tumbler setups and everything. I know what you're talking about. 'Cause that would be devastating. Because sometimes for those on limited incomes, that's what they can do. And she just happened to be one of those folks. Insane. Oh, but yeah. There we got our Nintendo stuff out of the way. Still gets me. So they're actually going to conventions. I didn't realize that was a thing and doing cease and desists.
Oh yeah, they send representatives out and they have like little check boxes or whatever to see which ones uh to go over which ones they've been uh kind of copying, I guess, or using as to make counterfeit stuff, I guess, or like keychain trinkets, da 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 da.
Right.
So they've been doing that. Someone recently posted about it. What was the convention? I think it was
Uh,
Anime Expo, was
I
it?
think so.
Hmm.
So that was the most recent one. So I mean, if you're out there in you know, the artist gallery or just in general in the merchant hall, be careful. Be very careful.
That's the best way to get them, especially in those cons. Let's move over to AI. Do you like AI? I know that we've talked about AI before, and we're not all in favor of AI. Um,
AI can care less.
you can care less.
I will only respect it and be okay with it if they train all their stuff on licensed things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I guess the only good thing about AI coming up is the fact that they're trying to do whole body switches, and the only way that they can actually, do every single nerve when you change off the head or whatever is to use AI to reconnect everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's legit. Well, on that note, it seems like NVIDIA has a generative AI toolkit in RTX Remix, and they did Portal with it and retextured the game, and it failed spectacularly. And I mean, failed in the sense like it did do with retexturing and it, eh, but
It looks like garbage,
yeah,
honestly.
hot garbage for sure. And in, by the time Nvidia got back to it to do any type of damage control, like people were like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" Let me read some of these right now. Um, Here, Jesse Lamb said there is modding for convenience and funsies, and then there's removing developer creative intent by throwing a bunch of random generated textures in there, along with awful lighting. That's like taking a film from the Criterion selection and editing in cuts of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, I saw that post. That was funny.
Yeah, let's see here. With the power of generative AI, anybody can mod Portal to look like shit. Imagine being proud that you're ruining the art direction of one of the most visually timeless games to exist. We've talked about this before, and AI is just being shoved down our throat as the next big thing, and they're trying to get buy-in on it. I don't buy it. I think it's still too young. I think there's places for it, and it's all about making money to fund more AI. And while that's great and all, it's hurting a lot of people in the process. But when it comes to dollars, pain doesn't matter, right, Amy? Right, Crit?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you make money, that's all that the shareholders care about, right?
Right.
Yep.
In the forum I put this in, Amy had responded with, "AI won't fuck you," which
Yes,
I couldn't stop laughing at that for like 45 minutes, Amy.
that was a good reply from somebody. I forget the username, but yeah, they were just like, "AI is not going to fuck you."
But they can convince you to penetrate Buckingham Palace.
Oh,
Penetrate what?
is that a thing? You got to explain that
Buckingham
now.
Palace. The dude that snuck into Buckingham Palace when Queen Elizabeth was still alive because his AI girlfriend told him to,
God
because
damn
he
it!
thought that he was a Sith Lord. You don't remember that story, Jaime?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, I'll have to show you that Count Dankula video.
Oh man.
I think it happened in 2020 when the pandemic was still around. So it's like he snuck into Buckingham Palace twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what the guards were doing, but apparently, he was able to sneak into Elizabeth's chambers.
Oh my.
How does that work?
Yeah.
That place is like super guarded. Like
Maybe it was just an off day.
maybe he was asking his girlfriend for tips, and that's how he got in. Like I guess that would make sense. I mean,
He was like, "You can do it. You're an extremely brave Sith Lord. Go do it. Fulfill your destiny."
do it.
Kiwi.
Yes, Banana Tune, he literally did. I'll have to post the link to it in Discord.
I do want to read that. That sounds hilarious. See here, we need Nintendo for AI. This is getting. You know what? I imagine if we shake Nintendo up like a warm can of beer and point it at like the AI companies, we could probably get something to happen, maybe. But they're also talking about generative AI, like assisting them as well. I don't know to what capacity. Probably art assets. Who knows? Uh, so buckle up.
Oh, hey Lumi.
Mhm.
Speaking of games, maybe I can see about making a Flappy Bird based game called Flappy Crit.
That'd be great. You should.
Yeah, and then like have Crit like avoiding obstacles, and then the thing that I crash into is Imee.
Oh yeah, it's like barcodes on the top and bottom instead of pipes. There you go.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What do you say about that, Amy?
Sure, that can only end badly.
Because even when I'm game over, I still win.
That's awesome. Uh, well, speaking of comments that are funny, this one actually comes from Daybreak Studios. Daybreak Studios is the publisher and developer behind. Oh no, it's Ghost Ship Games is the developer. Coffee Stain Publishing is the publisher for Deep Rock Galactic. It has to deal with the pricing of their new DLC.
Yes.
Um,
They want to continue the pricing of the DLC to be in line with the rest of their DLC, and some fans thought that wasn't acceptable. Like nothing really changed. I don't. $10. It's $10, right? And that's true with all of their DLC. I mean, you can get their Super Mega Pack, and it gives you a lot of the DLC up front, and it's all cosmetic. It doesn't do anything. There's no extra content. It's cosmetics. You can have miners that are gold, or have a funny beard, or whatever it may be. But apparently the internet's like, or some folks are not satisfied with that. Like it should be cheaper, and uh, it seems that one of the folks from Ghost Ship Games responded to someone who thought it was not fair. Said that. Yes, the $10 pricing on the Order of the Deep DLC is intentional. If you already have $8 saved up, I would suggest asking friends or families for $2, then you will have $10. Best. So
Yeah, it's a big screw you.
I mean, it's $10. I mean, considering like Elden Ring's DLC came out and it was pretty much almost full price, right? It was $40. It only had like 4 major new bosses in it and some of the hardest gameplay you've ever had, but you expect that from. Let's see here. What else do we got? I think Cloud Imperium Games has had a judgment by the tribunal. I'm not sure which country was it. UK? Yeah, it was UK. For discrimination against
Yes.
an employee who is disabled and needed accommodation to work from home post COVID, and they let him go.
Yeah, that's dumb. I don't know why people still do that because you're just going to get yourself in trouble. Like, there's nothing wrong with accommodations, and you look way better as a company if you can sit there and be like, yeah, we can absolutely accommodate your needs.
Well, I can tell you right now, I myself, I work from home, and it has been super helpful because I'm able to like see my kids off to school. I'm able to wait for the bus for them to get home. It's been very beneficial in the sense of like there's always been somebody home for the kids. It's almost like being a stay-at-home mom, except there's a whole lot less chores and a lot more work. Um, But yeah, no, for folks with disabilities, either motor or social anxiety or whatever it may be, um, we're at a point now where the infrastructure is powerful enough that it could support a complete remote workforce right now.
I
And
wish
this,
I could do that at my job, but my job, if I do that at my job, then you guys won't be getting your packages.
oh man, if they could ever have like some sort of robot crit in the warehouse that you get to control from home while drinking a cup of coffee, come on, wouldn't that be nice?
I'd do that. I would do that. But then again, also, if I when I have plans to actually work at a restaurant and stuff like that, it's gonna be hard to actually cook food or learn how to cook food for people when I'm sitting at home and not cooking.
This is true. Well, they already have a robot right now that you can program the movements in and measurements for food. Have you
Yeah,
seen
but
that?
where's the heart behind it?
In the initial making when the person programmed it. That's about it.
It's like, here, eat my AI food. It's good for you.
it,
It's it's
it.
empty calories.
Why does this hot dog taste like strawberries?
Careful,
So,
they might invent that. I might do that though. What does it make strawberry infused sausages?
ugh,
What's the
uh,
worst that can happen? Oh.
oh, well, good news. Cajun's already on a boat drinking. So, but yeah, no, the employee of Paul Athion was dismissed in 2022 after his request to permanently work from home to accommodate his disability were denied. They terminated him on the premise of what was it? Let me read here. It was something like it smelled like bullshit.
It always is.
Let's see here. Atheon reportedly asked because he worked remotely rather than relocate to Manchester studio was denied. He was let go due to performance issues related to his remote working setup. Well,
Hmm.
last time I checked, most of your equipment is provided to you by the employer.
Yep. So what that means, what they're trying to say is that we tried to supervise you, you suck, so we have to let you go because we can't supervise you without physically seeing you, and that way we are going to let you go. And it on paper it looks like we let you go for performance, even though we're doing it because we don't want to accommodate you. It's something I've seen before.
Yeah.
It's always made up and it's always bullshit. And if you've got the time and the effort to put behind fighting it, you'll always win it.
Oh yeah.
Or
Well, it's
very rarely you'll lose it because it's such a bogus way of dealing with it that it's just a waste of your time as an employer because you're going to lose. But it's done entirely to say, oh look, we can't physically supervise this person or look over their shoulder, so you're gonna have to be let go.
yeah. The
It's
tribe.
just an asses in chair
Yeah.
attitude.
Yeah, pretty much. I hate the fact that they're like, we have these office buildings, we need to fill them. No, you don't. You're not saving any money by bringing everybody back in. You're actually causing distress. So, but yeah, the tribunal was real smart about that statement, and it said that Cloud Imperium's concern about the claimant performance seemed rather retrospective, in the sense that whilst the claimant was employed, never formally investigated those concerns, and that it failed to give any evidence to suggest why they could not monitor it successfully remotely whilst he was working from home. Which goes back to what you were saying. So there's no evidence that working from home would have failed to achieve the respondent's legitimate aims of ensuring the acceptable performance of a senior gameplay programmer. So yeah, there you go. Another fight against like companies forcing people to come back into the office. There was a story a few months back where they had this nasty return to work promotional, like employee promotional video that was just garbage. I remember watching it. I was like, "What is this?" I don't remember what it was, but yeah, there was just a lot of folks can make the claim that, "Well, you're much more helpful in the office and you're being available and so forth and so on." I don't find value in that, and especially in a organization that is located very geodiversely. Like, what days am I going to have to go to India to go to
Yeah,
work? Sorry about the
it's
doggo.
that's fine. It's just really dumb that there's still such an old school mentality of how you're supposed to manage people and that you have to physically see them to ensure that they're working. And my argument against that is if you, oh, now we're going to get copyright strikes because my phone just went off with Mario. But if you feel that you need to physically see your employees to know that they're working, that tells me a couple things. One, it tells me you don't trust your employees. Number two, why do you not trust your employees? What are you doing to them to make them want to goof off and not do their work? Because it's going to come back to you no matter how you try and phrase it as, oh, they're just shitty workers. No, it's on you. If you can't manage effectively in person or even like remotely, you're not going to be able to do it in person. Doesn't matter where the employees are. You're just a shitty leader. And I was going somewhere with this. My brain just melted, so I'm going to end it there.
That's okay.
Stupid brain.
While you mop that up, there was a interesting one where a UK man was sentenced to prison for possessing a Legend of Zelda Master Sword replica, and I think Crit and you were cutting that up on Twitter for a
Oh
while.
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
the 6-inch comments were there anyway.
yeah, coming up short in the
It was
UK,
it
right?
was it was only that long. Disappointing.
I don't know. I mean, you have the UK that's like, no, you can't have, the Master Sword. And then meanwhile, in Texas back in 2017, they were like, yeah, you can open carry swords. Haha.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that incident. There were people walking around and like, what good is that going to do you? What's the only difference between now and then is now you seem like an aggressor. Like that's literally it. Like you afraid the Taliban's going to jump out the bush and be like, "Aha! I got you because you didn't bring your AK-47 and I did." Like I didn't understand the logic behind it. Like it didn't make
I
any
don't know.
sense.
I know whenever I move, I have to give up my decorative dagger thingy that I got from
Um,
a Ren Fair.
Can't you
not
just mail it to
necessarily.
yourself?
No, you can
It,
bring it.
oh, I
Is
wasn't too sure because it's decorative, but it's also kind of pointy. I don't
Yeah,
want them to
pointy is
be like,
fine.
er,
As long as it's not a spring loaded or gravity assisted fucking stupid.
oh no,
Gravity
it's
assisted blade, then
pretty
you're
stiff.
yeah, you'll be fine. Hey, hey, hey.
It has a
Stiff.
skull on it too. I'll have to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that'd
that'll be fine.
be fine. Anyway, this guy,
I
he
was
was
trying
just.
to be
Go ahead.
I was trying to be edgy.
God damn it.
What?
Yeah.
No pun
Sigh.
intended.
No, you intended that.
No
Don't.
puntendo.
God damn it.
I can feel the cease and desist warming up in the background. We can't make fun of Nintendo's IP anymore.
I
Oh,
So,
I'm
didn't
still
say
going
them
to.
specifically. I made up my own word.
yeah.
Of course you did.
Anyway, this poor UK man, I think he said he got it off of eBay or something like that, and he just had it on him as a fidget toy, is what he said. I don't think so, but that's just me. I don't think he had any ill intent to use it for anything else, but come on, it's a sword. It's the equivalent of like walking around with a letter opener.
Yeah, but if you're walking around with a sword, you know what that means, right?
Hmm.
There can be only one.
Ah, I hear the
I
high
mean,
That's
languages.
maybe they'd think differently if it was like an Excalibur replica. Maybe he wanted to go around saying, "Hey, I'm King Arthur. I'm the real royalty around here."
damn it.
It's not like he's walking around being like, oi there, I'm Jack the Ripper. Oi,
God damn it.
what?
Oh
It's gonna
gosh.
face palm a little bit.
I'm, listen, we just had 4th of July. I have to poke a little bit of fun.
Yeah, there weren't too many injuries this year that we know of yet, except for some very severe injuries.
Yeah, just
But
taking a
when
little
you're,
bit off the top, if you know what I mean.
yeah, I
Hoi.
mean, people don't like it sometimes when you're playing with fireworks or you're using too much, not enough, but it's nothing to lose your head over. But
Mm,
tis.
mhm, yep.
Apparently, for those of you who can't tell, somebody lost their head playing with fireworks, which,
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask about that. Tell me about that. What happened
Yeah,
with
there were
that?
forehead injuries too. There was one, I think, in Rhode Island. The big one was in Chicago where he put a like a motor over on his head.
mortar.
Mortar.
Yeah.
And then there was one in South Carolina where I think he had like a top hat that he put fireworks in. So he sustained a lot of injuries to his head too. So,
So if you're going to do that, and I'm never going to recommend that you put fireworks on your head, but if you are that stupid and you want to be that stupid, if you're going to use a top hat, the top hat's got to be a couple things. Number one, it's got to be really, really tall. Number two, it's got to be made of Kevlar. Number three, the base plate, or there's got to be a base plate in it that's sort of cupped outwards with little vents in the side of your hat, so you have exhaust gas going away from your head. The It's got to be a metal plate, at least a quarter-inch thick, because you want to absorb some of that heat and dissipate it so it doesn't cook your skull. And yeah, you're going to want that securely mounted to your head with a quick release strap so you can pull it off in the event of an emergency. But at the same time, that's a lot of work for letting professionals do it instead.
and even with the professionals, there's still those. If you saw that one clip that I retweeted or anything like that, there was a professional display over at a stadium, and it got launched.
Yep.
It got launched into the audience as well. So you have to be careful in general. I mean,
Hmm.
it's at this point, it's probably the best bet is drone shows. Just do it
Yep.
that way. You won't lose your head, you won't lose your fingers, you won't scare the children, you won't leave the children without a parental figure, scar
Yep.
them for life.
Oh,
Accident
I was
viability
reading
goes
some
down.
information from your it wasn't OSHA, it was a different US department. I think it was Department of Labor or something. They did a study on injuries involving fireworks. And yes, it's a video game show and we're talking about fireworks. Um, in the last, I think it was 4 or 5 years, the overwhelming majority, and I mean around the 80% mark of injuries pertaining to fireworks were all men. Most of those were hand related. How many people have you? How many videos have you seen of people holding a Roman candle as it's shooting off?
I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
those.
put your hand up and chat.
Yeah, exactly. Or you may not be able to. But here's the thing: I don't think people realize, like, just even a cherry bomb is enough to blow your hand in half. Like, look at your hand, and then take your thumb, index, and middle finger, and make like a little U shape, and that's all gone. You have your ring finger and your pinky, and you have a gaping hole. That's what a cherry bomb can do. They're explosives. They're meant to go boom. They are not meant to be fucked around with. It's astounding how many people think that it's a good idea to screw around with fireworks.
Oh yeah, no, I was taught at a very young age, respect the fireworks, or they won't respect you. Like
Yep.
that's all there is to it. I think in today's terms, it's um, once you've passed the fuck around portion, it's time to find out. And
Mhm.
gulp.
Yeah, it's just so dumb.
I mean,
Like,
even the professional display that I went to, that I tried to stream to Discord on the fourth, there were three in this professional display that never made it to the air and exploded on the ground.
yep,
And it,
fireworks are dangerous.
gulp. I mean, mind you, like they're in pyro suits and and they're remotely detonating everything. I mean, they are professionals after all, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
but
you can at least sit back and be at a safe distance because the difference between one of those large mortars that shoots one of those big bangers that just have that white flash and a hand grenade is not a whole lot other than a lot of shrapnel.
mm,
Like they actually probably I think the bright flashy mortars have more power behind them than a hand grenade. And a hand grenade, for reference, has a 5 meter kill radius. For those of you who use freedom fractions, that is roughly 16 feet.
I heard you
That's your
typing.
debt. You are dying in that zone. 16 feet of you just unsubscribed from life, and the danger radius is 20 meters, which is 65 feet. That's where you're having a very bad day at the office. And fireworks are like hand grenades. They are insanely dangerous. You should never be that close to them, that you're
Just
at
remember,
risk of
kids,
dying. Sorry?
when you pull the pin, Mr. Grenade is no longer your friend.
No, no. Mr. Grenade is about one spoonful away from being very angry.
Yep.
Those of you who've thrown hand grenades will understand that.
Very nice. Well, let's move on a little bit. I know this one. I think Amy wanted to talk about Tales of Tales of Kenzera. Zhao, the director of that particular game, honors the affected staff after Surgeon Studios layoffs. Apparently, there is a lot of attrition in the games industry right now, and this story hit because the developer or the director put out a very heartfelt message saying, "I'm very proud of what we've done," so forth and so on. Everyone that was let go, I can vouch for every one of them. They're very talented. Should you be looking for more talent? Let me see what that said.
Yeah. Oh, and he goes on to say that, actually, what he did is he went on to retweet and quote tweet in that thread all of his staff that were laid off. And he had a quick little blurb about each and every single one of them. So, Chris Tarrant, the senior animator, he goes on to say, an unbelievably talented animator, truly one of a kind, and seen it all and done it all. His humor is also infectious, and he has these like really nice, short, sweet sentences about every single person that got laid off. And as a CEO, and actually as a consumer, that is what I want to see. If you have to lay people off, I understand. I mean, there was a huge hiring binge while COVID was going on, and then when they started realizing we have to pay for leased building facilities, we have to lay people off now. It blows. It absolutely is horrible. But this is what a CEO should be doing. They should be looking and making each person's name known and saying you want this person, like you need this person, and here's why. And the fact that they went through like their producers, their producer, a 3D animator, senior level designer, technical artist, and a VFX and level design people, and actually just went on to say like hire these people. That's what I want to see going forward from CEOs. And you're more likely to get money out of me if you do that than if you just go, hey, look, I just padded my wallet with my new executive bonus after we laid off 200 people.
Yep. Have you ever
It
looked
is,
for it on Twitter? The dude's name is Abu Kabar Salim, who
yep,
who did all of that.
yeah, absolutely fantastic. And this is how you should handle layoffs, ideally. Like, of course, in a perfect world, you would never have layoffs. But if you do have to lay off staff, at least have a message from your CEO thanking them for their time there, and then going through and making sure everybody's name is seen. Because more often than not, when you get up high enough level in a video game company, or even when you just get working for a popular video game company where your name gets thrown around and people start knowing you, you're going to have a lot of people who will follow you, and you've got some visibility to throw around. And I mean, they've got almost 33,000 followers. And I bet you a good chunk of those people are in the games industry. So by doing a thread like this and quote tweeting them into your thread, you're making sure 33,000 people plus, hundreds of other retweets or thousands of other retweets are getting out there and getting those names out there so those people can get hired. And as it turns out, the senior animator, they were the first one mentioned. And this person named Eddie from Eddie Makes Games, hey Chris, we're hiring a senior gameplay animator at Shark Mob London. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Hope you land on your feet soon. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
And that's the build engineer for Shark Mob Games. And that's what you want to see, is that getting those names out there so you see these opportunities just happening instantly. Like, that's pretty freaking rad to see stuff like that.
I agree. I'd see more of that. I mean, in larger organizations, it's probably not near as possible, but I'm glad.
It'll always be possible. You just have to have the brass behind it to do it. If you've got the intestinal fortitude to do it, you'll do it.
Oh yeah.
If you look at your employees as peons, you're not going to do it. But if you look at them as genuine human beings that you care about, like obviously that CEO does,
Mhm.
you'll do it. You'll find a way to do it. Even if it's 200 people, you'll find a way to do it. And I think that speaks volumes about the disconnect between different types of CEOs. Like, I would work for that dude in a heartbeat because he took the time to say something kind about all the employees he had to lay off. I would like to work for someone like that who values their employees quite obviously and publicly. All right, that's my rant.
Well, uh,
I'm mostly mad at Bobby Kotick. for obvious reasons.
Everybody should remain mad at Bobby Kotick just for being Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Like no reason. I mean, you don't need a reason. Just because you can hear his name, you're like, oh wow, he sounds like an interesting fella in the
He's
worst
like a
kind of way.
douchebag.
Yeah.
He
So
needs to become reacquainted with his hat. He should reacquaint himself with himself or his hat, one of the two.
there's another interesting story out there. Apparently, the Catholic Church is sainting a gamer. This will be the first gamer saint.
I feel
Which,
offended. Why didn't they come to me about it?
well, you're not Acutus, I believe is the kid's name. Uh, this is actual.
I'd say I'm pretty cute. What are you talking about?
Carlo Acutis. He had died in 2006, and the reason why he's even being here, like, let me drop this into chat real quick, so that way you can see what I'm talking about.
I think I know what you're talking about. The guy that, yeah, the
Yeah, he
kid.
had like 2 substantiated miracle claims. Like,
Mhm.
it's the wrong podcast for that, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, this isn't yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, apparently
that's interesting.
people who have come to his site, his grave site, and have prayed for things have had it granted, thus counting as miracles. Therefore, you equal saint. Which I think it's cool that some of the more recent folks are are becoming something of a religious figure, kind of, especially for one that was already devout into that particular faith. More power
Yeah.
to them.
I think the last person I know of that was became a saint was Mother Teresa. And that was one of those, like, she did such good shit for everybody on the planet. It would have been, don't mind the joke, but there would have been hell to pay had she not been canonized.
Yeah.
Well, think about it this way. I mean, with that going into the whole sainthood thing, I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby Kotick actually turned him into an NPC.
Yeah, but if it's Bobby Kotick doing it, I would feel dirty and gross.
Exactly.
If it was any other person that was not a harbinger of doom and despair and uh, someone who promotes like just the most horrendous working conditions,
Hmm.
it'd probably be a little bit better. But
Hmm.
that that guy can go sit on some overly large sized dildos for all I care.
All right.
I can't say what I really want to say because we'll get demonetized. So
We're not
take
making
that
money
as you.
anyway. Say what you want.
That's true.
I mean, as long as this doesn't have to deal with like gross misconduct, it should be all right. So,
Cataclysm and the bad dragon.
Oh no.
What? Deathwing was a bad dragon.
he was. He was a very angry dragon for sure.
I kind of I feel Amy is very disappointed in me right now.
A little bit. And actually, what's funny is I just watched my little animation kind of bounce around sighing as I was trying, so that worked. God damn it.
Uh,
You're welcome.
all right, last story of the night. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Am I?
This headline on PC Gamer from GamesIndustry.biz. To combat torrent traffic, a South Korean ISP deployed a bold strategy infecting 600,000 of its own customers with malware. This is all for like torrenting.
Yep. I've heard of stuff like that before, but not with malware. And it was actually the Recording Industry Association of America that did it. When they were doing their massive, like, I'm just going to send these letters to people's homes and expecting them to pay up and basically running an extortion scheme out of fear, which thankfully doesn't work in Canada because fuck you. What they were doing is they were basically just showing up with these or having these letters sent to people's homes and, extorting people for thousands of dollars of, you downloaded copyrighted material. And some people didn't even have computers. How the fuck does that work?
Right.
And what ended up happening is I remember one guy, he said, okay, I'll see you in court. And they were like, wait, what? And he said, no, we'll go to court. Let's go. And their response was, okay, fine. And then they get to court. And of course, the RIAA is like, this person downloaded everything. See, we have an IP address. And this dude was like, yeah, those things get cycled around by the ISP. How do you know it was me? Well, it's your IP address that's tied to your account. yeah, how many times has that IP address been shifted around? And the provider is like, well, it gets shifted around on this kind of a rotation. And then this person had also gone to the trouble of looking at all the other seeders
Mm-hmm.
for the torrented music. They were all coming from IP addresses owned by the Recording Industry Association of America. So the RAA was actually seeding its own copyrighted music to try and bait people into downloading copyrighted music, so then they could give them a cease and desist letter with an extortion clause on it.
Wow.
That was a racket. And when the first letter got served in Canada and got delivered to somebody, they just looked at it and laughed and threw it in the garbage, didn't think much of it until they tried taking them to court. And that's when things got interesting in Canada, because the person fought back and was like, we have no laws against this. Go fuck your hat. And it ended up that the courts ruled that no, you're running an extortion scheme. You cannot do that. You have no jurisdiction in Canada. Go fuck your hats. And you will now have what's known as a notice in notice. So you can notice the notice. And what that basically means is if you're caught downloading stuff by a copyright holder, they notify your ISP, and your ISP on their behalf has to say, you've been caught downloading pirated stuff. Please don't download pirated stuff. And it very specifically in the court ruling said there cannot be any monetary fines associated with it unless you actually take the person to court.
Yeah. That
So
sounds...
you might get these notice and notices, but just delete them because they mean nothing. Because realistically, the industry association would have to prove that it was you, specifically your computer and you yourself, that did it, not just an like an IP address that gets shifted around between, you know, various other MAC addresses on the ISP, like on their networks. Like it's just so stupid, these things. But yeah, I have seen that before. So this whole infecting 600,000 machines with malware to combat fucking piracy. Oh, so stupid.
Yep. This article was talking about like even Comcast was earned a cease and desist for doing that here for BitTorrent transfers. So you're not wrong in the sense of like, what can you really do, right?
Yeah. But I remember those first letters coming out. It was like, you need to pay $5,000 US. It's like, I need to pay like a buck something for my Tim Hortons coffee.
Yep, there you
You can eat a bag of dicks.
go.
Fuck.
Good luck, eh?
Yeah.
5,000.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Oh,
number. Well, I'm
oh,
gonna.
you're threatening me with that. Loads, aggressively loads attack goose. Don't make me use it. Aggressively opens checklist.
Oh, so yeah, that's the shenanigans for this week. Lots of things going on. Let's talk about what we're doing. I know Cajun isn't here, so the chances are it's going to be shiny hunting and pirates and something else. Who knows? But Rena, what are you doing? You're still working out and drinking cardboard. What's going on?
I'm not drinking cardboard. I'm drinking water, but eating cardboard. I finished my cardboard. Glorious.
Hmm.
But I think I finished it. I had to just choke it down. I was just like, no. I I hated it. But still drinking my water, doing my cardboard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. Lost so far I lost 20 pounds in a month.
Oh, very nice.
Still still staying away from World of Warcraft and trying to take myself away from distractions because we have a wedding coming up. And yeah, that and we're waiting for the next season of On Patrol Live.
Oh,
And
was
on
last
the
week the
same
season end or?
yeah, season 2 end was last week. So they're doing reruns this week, and then on the 12th is when they do season 3, which is amazing. And then even on the 12th, they're releasing Exploding Kittens on Netflix.
Like the card game Exploding Kittens?
Yeah.
I've played that, by the way, which is a hell of fun. How are they going to get that to work?
They have the I guess the preview of it on Netflix. It looks interesting. Not gonna lie, it looks interesting. Same
Cool.
style as the game too. So
Oh, is it going to be animated?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Barcode, aside from submarining, what are you doing?
Submarining. I'm actually really enjoying this game. I have a number of submarine games in my Steam library, and this is the only one I've actually enjoyed so far.
Yep. This was on the
And
pre-show before we started, so I'm going to go ahead and transition over to the gameplay that you're doing.
yes, we currently have a sub. You can see it's right here. We have detected it. Here's our wonderful tube. See, this is how you go into the or you don't go into the deep sea with these things because these are long, hard shafts. You don't go that deep into the abyss.
Okay.
Only balls go super deep.
Okay,
But
Mr. Ocean Gate.
Oh, that's all
we
right.
have detected a contact Sierra One Tango. So that
Oh,
is
did
a
you
Russian
know?
sub we're going to
I
try and
guess you
sink.
guys know. You guys know what happened with our discussion from last week with the thing that went viral with the website with
Oh,
all the
yeah.
checks.
1 million checkboxes? Yeah.
Yeah, apparently it went viral in Tampa.
I
They think
saw,
it's a conspiracy.
it,
Oh my god.
it was just some dude
Everything is.
who was like, I made a stupid game. Go play my stupid game. It updates in real time. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, no.
No
Speaking of,
purpose, just check boxes.
yeah,
No.
there was a meme that you would put up. What was it, Amy? Oh no, it was I put it up. I think. If you look at general memes, I think. Let me look here. Was it you or was it me? It was me. It said another billionaire is planning a trip to the wreckage of the Titanic with a $20 million sub to prove it's safe. Nearly a year after OceanGate implosion, and like the first response to that was, "We need to make this a yearly event like the Super Bowl." So.
I I mean, I'd stay engaged to it. I'm not gonna lie. See who can get down the furthest.
Season 2 of Stupidest Billionaire. Here we go.
Ocean Gate 2, Electric Boogaloo. You know what I mean?
So
Oof.
be on the lookout in the news for that one.
Um. Also, I found out that there's another banana game or banana-like game. It's called Banana Cucumber.
Oh
Oh,
no.
Yeah,
Is it just one of these speculative market bullshit games?
I guess so. I guess it worked out well for them, but I don't know if I'd actually click around in Banana Cucumber.
why's that?
No.
I don't know if it's made by the same people, but still, it's like you have a banana and then you have banana cucumber. Like, what's the purpose? Next, are you gonna have starfruit?
Yeah, that's gonna be a thing. It's like you had Flappy Bird, and then you had all the clones afterwards. What happens is success begets clones, and now you're gonna see it because people are going to capitalize on it.
I mean, Fallout Boy had a Flappy Bird game. They
What?
had like Fallout Flappy, and the background music was Young Volcano.
Oh, that's nice.
Fucking loved it. Spent like hours on that thing.
Good stuff.
That's insane.
Well,
Yeah.
what could I do?
Oh, stickers.
They took Flappy Bird down, so I was like, I'll just go with the Fallout Boy spinoff because I like Fallout Boy.
Yeah, that makes
Fair.
sense. Um, let's see. As far as Cajun and Lumi's concerned, aside from processing the podcast tomorrow, I'll be with Cajun Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I've added in midnight streams to TikTok with Sea of Thieves, which has been kind of fun. Lots of nice folks. I've met some pretty cool people. Um, that's pretty much it. I'm preparing for episode 71 for the following Saturday, seeing what kind of shenanigans comes in over the syndicates. That's pretty much going to be my week, aside from doctor's appointments. So, yeah, that's it. Episode 70, done. Dunzo. No more.
In the book,
In the books. We talked about like 10 different things and we got through it right on time. Yay.
Yay.
Mhm.
So, but that's it. Everyone, thanks for stopping by. Join us next week for episode 71. And don't forget to check out youtube.com/UDP broadcast for the chopped up for the podcast. And you can find us on Spotify for the previous 69 episodes. That's it.
Just remember, since Nordic isn't around, don't be a dick.
Yep, that's right. Stay awesome, stay classy, and remember, don't be a dick.
Yay!